Hey, good morning, everybody. I don't think I've ever filmed a video this early in the morning. It's just past 6 a.m. here. And sorry if I look a little rough, but I really wanted to come on before the day begins because I don't know what the day's going to bring ever with my work. And talk about the very sad passing of Ennio Morricone. I hope I'm saying that right. I've heard many different pronunciations of his name, so I'm kind of relying on Google Translate to be the accurate one. But he sadly passed away. Well, it was announced. I'm not sure when he passed away, but I woke up to the news this morning just an hour ago. So it's all kind of sinking in, but I'm such a fan of his. And even though I've seen so few of the movies he's associated with, there's over 500 soundtracks that he is credited to. I really just wanted to come on and show you some. I didn't pull out nearly all of the vinyl soundtracks I have from Ennio. And I pulled out the CD because it was one of the very early things that I purchased. And yeah, it's just really bad news. So I suppose if you're looking to get into his music or his film scores, you know, a compilation like this or maybe one of the two behind me that I pulled out would be a very good starting point because you get a little sampling of many of the different things that he is credited to. So either any of these three compilations that you see here would be a great starting point for those that are new to him. And as I was saying, I don't have any real knowledge of many of his films. In fact, I think I've only seen maybe 3 or 4. Well, maybe a little bit more than that, but not a lot. I mean, if he's credited to 500 films and I've got, say, about 70 vinyl soundtracks of his, I think I've probably seen less than 10% of that. So I am really a fan of the way he composes music, his use of melody, just the way he enhances the mood is really second to none. I mean, I just made a video of John Williams and was praising him left and right for these very same things, but Ennio Morricone is, if not my favorite, next to my favorite composer of all time, and it's a very sad loss. He was 91 years old, so, you know, it's a very long, healthy, happy life, and, you know, he'll be remembered forever. And we have a legacy of music to cherish forever. So I guess that's the good news out of losing somebody that's important to you, is remembering him for all the things that we can still cherish to this day and many years from now. So I'm going to try to get through this as quick as I can. I pulled out maybe 25 things, and I may not even show them all depending on the time. So I'm just going to get started, and I'm going to plow through these pretty quick because I don't want this to be a super long video, and I don't want it to be about me showcasing my collection. It's not about that. That's why I didn't pull them all out. I just wanted to show some of my favorites, not because of the content of the movie in most cases, but just because of the music and the fact that I'm proud to own them. So start off with some that you guys all will know. This is just a 10-inch vinyl of A Fistful of Dollars. And this is one of the Man with No Name trilogy that Clint Eastwood did, these spaghetti westerns. Ennio is probably most famous for those spaghetti westerns. I think the general public probably knows him most for things like this and this, the glare, sorry, really bad glare here. I'm gonna have to work on the angle. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I just rewatched this film maybe a week ago, and that's the truth because I'll put a link down. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, I review movies there, and you might be interested in my opinion on some of these movies. But I just rewatched this and really enjoyed it. It's terrific. They call them spaghetti westerns, but it's a really good movie. And you know, Clint Eastwood was in his prime, and the music. I made a comment even on that video from a week ago that without the music, this movie wouldn't be nearly as impactful. And I really believe that because it's so synonymous with this movie. And you guys all know the theme song from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and it's maybe his most very iconic work. So I thought that was a good place to start. He's attributed to so many westerns. I mean, it would take an endless amount of time and money to collect all of these. And I have a good selection of them, but you know, it would be a never-ending battle to get all of them. Never seen this movie. It's called Death Rides a Horse. And I forget the name of this actor, but he's in quite a few of these Italian westerns. The name escapes me, but maybe it's on the back here. Nah, it doesn't look like it is. But anyway, you may know his name off the top of your head, but he was in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as well, and he's really, really good. I mean, he plays a bad guy most of the time, and he's very effective at it. Really apologize for the glare. I had to turn on all the lights in this room because it's still dark outside, and I don't think I've ever filmed in the dark before, so it's something new. It looks like this is another movie with the same actor in it. This is called The Big Gun Down. Again, a film I've never seen. And again, it's just that iconic Western sound that he's so famous for. Let's see if it says his name on here. It doesn't. Oh yeah, Lee Von Cleef. And I think, going by memory, I think my parents loved Lee Van Cleef. He was a very famous actor from the 40s, 50s, and 60s mainly, maybe going into the 70s. But this looks like something they would love as far as movies go, and I probably would like it as well. This is a movie I have seen and love very, very much, and I'm going to show you this one because this is a phenomenal movie. Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight, and this might be one of the last things, if not the last thing he did. I think he did maybe do a little bit of something after this, but I'm not sure. But this is pretty recent. This is just a couple years old, and this is a wonderful soundtrack. So if this is his last, what a way to go out. I mean, it's just a terrific movie, first of all. One of my very favorite films, and again, just a phenomenal soundtrack. And Quentin Tarantino was a big fan of his, and like millions of people, I'm just speaking on my behalf, but there's millions of fans of his. Now these I'm just going to plow through because I've not seen these movies, and I just think they're interesting to show. Some old original copies, some repressings from various record labels that are fans of his and put out a lot of his stuff. This movie is called 2000 Holocaust. So if anybody has seen any of these, comment on some of the better films perhaps that you would like me to check out. 2000 Holocaust. This one is Casa Falls. I'm familiar with the the premise of this, but not the movie. This one here, I know. This is really hard to find on Blu-ray, by the way. I've been trying to get a copy of this, and it's not easy to get. Once Upon a Time in America, and I've heard this is a fantastic, fantastic movie. So Robert De Niro, and this is an original pressing, so nice to have that. Here's a movie that I should see. Never seen it. I believe it won Best Picture, The Untouchables, Kevin Costner. I'm sure this is a terrific movie, and so many people won't know that Ennio Morricone did the vinyl, the music to some of these films. And even when I find them out digging through record bins, sometimes I think, oh, he did the music for that and this. It's like always a surprise to me. This is an older movie, it looks like from the 60s, called The Burglars. A very interesting cover there, and it looks very of the period, I suppose you could say. I'm sure that's a good movie. And this one I have seen, and it's very creepy and very good for its time, and still scary to this day. This is John Carpenter's The Thing. So really happy to have this one, and this is a repressing. I think there are original copies of this, but they are very expensive. And going by memory, this is on like an icy white vinyl. It's very, very nice. So that one I think has gotten a little bit on the rare side. This one I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but is part of his horror series. My friend Ben Simpson is a huge horror film fan, and he and I have been talking this morning already a little bit about some of the horror soundtracks that he has and some of the films he's seen that Ennio did the music to, and he would be the one to talk about these movies, not me, but that this music is eerie, and it's so fitting to hear it, even though I don't have context of the movie. It really doesn't matter, because the music is just interesting on its own, just as a standalone thing. That's why I have all these, and he's just fun to collect. This is another horror film. It appears, My Dear Killer. I'm not familiar with it, but it looks Italian, like so many of his movies are. He was Italian, so it makes sense. And then just to kind of round things off, there was a whole series that Music on Vinyl started about 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Started with this on Record Store Day. This is called The Legend of 1900. I've heard this is an excellent movie, and interestingly enough, it was released as part of a new series from Music on Vinyl on Record Store Day, and these are all on clear vinyl, and they're just done immaculately. You can see how well the covers are done in like a frame type thing with silver embossed, and it's beautiful. They're all beautiful. I've got all of them, believe it or not, but I didn't pull all of them out. But they've been a lot of fun to collect, and I think this series has ended now, but they're all on clear vinyl. And this one, interestingly enough, also features Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. So this is pretty interesting. He does lyrics and vocals on a couple tracks on this, so you might want to check that out. This is a very, very good listen. And let's see, we'll move on here. We've got Cinema Paradiso. I've heard of this movie, but I have not seen it. And that will probably apply to the rest of these. So if you're familiar with any of these, again, let me know which ones are the best ones to try to find and watch. This one I've heard of. Obviously, you've probably all heard of this. This is Casualties of War. I have not seen this movie, but this is 80s, I think, with Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn. I've heard it's a very good movie, and again, another one of his many iconic scores. Believe it or not, one of his most iconic soundtracks I don't own. I thought I did, but I was going through my records today, and I don't have it. It's The Mission. And I see in comments on Facebook and social media, a lot of people are commenting that The Mission is one of his very best works, so I'm going to have to work hard to find a copy of that. Here's one from Clint Eastwood called In the Line of Fire. I've heard this is an excellent movie as well, so if you want to comment on that, that would be great. So moving along here, here's a Jack Nicholson movie with Michelle Pfeiffer called The Wolf. Looks very interesting, kind of looks 80s again, so I could be wrong, could be 90s, but he's so prolific. I mean, I don't think there's another composer that I can think of that has this many soundtracks, and I'm just scratching the surface. I mean, it could go on and on. This could be a 5-hour epic video. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be videos out there all day long and all week long about Ennio Morricone and his work. So I'm looking forward to seeing more. This is Bugsy. Looks like this one features, I'm not sure. Can't think of his name. Well, it doesn't matter. I can't think of the actor's name, but it's on the tip of my tongue. Bugsy. I think this was kind of an award-winning film. Going by memory again, but not one I've seen. And then finally, just to wrap it up, I've heard this is an amazing movie, and I really do want to check this one out. This is City of Joy. I think Patrick Swayze is the star of this one. So this is a really, really nice series. You can see how well it's done. It just uses quality material all the way through. I think there's about 15 to 18 of these, and I am blessed to have them all. I can't lie, I have spoiled myself with Ennio Morricone records, and I'm just such a fan, so it's a heartbreaking, bittersweet kind of thing to come and talk to you about his music and his contributions. But as Ben was saying on his social media post today, that, I think just about everybody, if you've ever watched a movie, chances are Ennio Morricone has contributed in some way to some movie that you love, whether it's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or The Thing, or one of his spaghetti westerns, or one of his Italian horror films, or so many of his award-winning type movies, and even a television series. I was looking through my vinyl collection. There's a Marco Polo soundtrack to a miniseries that was done years ago, and the list just goes on and on and on. Many, many, many that are in Italian language that I wouldn't even dare to pronounce. And I could have spent an hour on this video, but I didn't want to do that because it isn't about me. It's not about the collection. It's just about paying my respect and giving a quick tribute to Ennio Morricone, who is contributed as much to film music as anybody on the planet ever. And, it's going to be sadly missed. So unfortunately, we probably won't get any new music from him unless there's something unfinished that might come out. But, if nothing else, go watch The Hateful Eight, because that is a phenomenal movie. Quentin Tarantino is has quickly become one of my favorite filmmakers in the past few months, really, because I wasn't a big fan of his in the early days, but his last few movies have been terrific. So that's a topic for another day. But anyway, I'll end it here. Thank you so much for watching, and rest in peace, Ennio Morricone, and thanks for making music and what you've contributed to cinema, so special for all these years. And I'm going to revisit all these soundtracks in the coming days and weeks, and I'm just so lucky to have them. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon, and take care of yourselves and stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.